Hola Condor-estás, guys? Welcome back to another video. So I do have my camera inverted so I can read everything that it says here. But in English we are doing a superhero. So I'm actually doing a supervillain, and when I was doing my research yesterday, which was a Saturday, and now today's Sunday the 19th, this is when this video officially comes out. So I'm open to any suggestions that you guys may have. I'm open to anything that you guys may have, or any ideas you may have. I'm not entirely too sure how I'm about to go over this, but I thought I'd bring it home. Didn't tell the teacher no nothing, so I thought I'd bring it home and do it at home. But I thought of an idea. If I can get you guys' suggestions on colors, that's what I really need, is colors right now. So I just need colors. I've already got a logo. I've already got a name. You would have seen that in yesterday's video. But I do need an alter ego. What do I do when I'm not being a supervillain? So, like, I was thinking about something like a janitor or something. So what do supervillains do? So what is their alter ego? So I need some really good alter egos right now, because I am struggling with this. Like, I don't even know what to do. So what are some good alter egos? So I might try and become like, what is the best ego? Who's the best ego? What are some good egos? Alright, that's a bust. I can't find anything. If you guys Google it, some good egos, please comment down below, because make sure you drop a comment, because I need all the comments that I can get for this. So I've got a name, which I'm gonna name this. So as you guys can see there where it says name, I'm gonna name this Professor Skull. And for the logo, which is over here, I was thinking about like doing a skull and naming it as the skull, because I'm pretty sure that's going to put a unique twist to it. If I wasn't that good, well, we're going to be writing a story about ourselves, about it as well. We're kind of putting ourselves into this right now. The teacher said we need to put in some, the teacher said that we're doing it about ourselves. So, like, what are we doing, and what are we? Are we a supervillain, or a superhero? But that's the thing that I'm trying to get at. Like, I'm being a superhero, and it's going to be Professor Skull, and I'm going to be based on a story where it goes from horror, or kind of make it like horror, and then make it jump straight into like some calming stuff. So I'm going to start off where he starts destroying buildings and everything, and then once I get further into the story, I'm going to make it like he ends up becoming a janitor, and he loses all his powers at the end, towards the end of the story. So that's going to put a unique twist, because I know that I am well known in English class to fucking do horror stories and make shivering stories. I know that for a fact, because when I was my old English class, I actually done some shivering stories. Completely freaked out my teacher, so I'm gonna try and not make it as scary as last year. Because I remember when we went to the library, and we ended up, and I ended up seeing a book called Shivers. And the teacher directly said to me, that's the stories that I write. And I thought to myself, it is, because I make shivering stories. Like, you just get a shiver that goes straight down your neck. Like, so I'm pretty known for that in English classes. You can even ask some of my classmates that I used to sit with last year, because that used to be the bomb. That used to be me being known by my teacher that I make horrifying stories. But this one is going to take a unique twist this year. I'm actually going to make this a little bit different this year. I'm actually going to be making it as if I'm going to make it scary, but towards the end, make it like he lost all his powers and someone drained him. Like, I'm going to try and put one of the other people in there. Not other people, one of the other super villains in there, and say that they took my powers. So then I had to go back and regain them from being a janitor. and that's the only way that I could get my powers back, unless unless I got disowned by my parents, and my parents abandoned me if I didn't get my superpowers back. So I'm gonna try and make this like one thing that my parent, like, in the story, not in real life, but in the story. So I already found alter ego. What do I do when I'm not a supervillain? I'm a janitor trying to gain more powers, but I'm also a teacher on top of that. So when I'm a janitor, I clean rooms, I clean things, I clean the rooms, I clean the bathrooms. But I find hidden notes that is around there by one of the other supervillains that are hiding in there. Maybe I'm gonna make up a random supervillain name. And then I'm going to alternate that into my story. So I'm going to make this as best as I can. So it's going to take a very interesting turn, I think. Think it'll take an interesting turn. Comment down below, because this is going to be one of my most confusing stories I've ever done in English. So I'm going to say that, so at the beginning, I'm going to say there were professors of a school, high school, or something like that. And I'm instantly going to say that if I didn't get my powers back, my parents would abandon me. But that's towards the end of the story. So that's when this made up guy made powers. But I was trying to look for notes that my parents left me, or another person left me, like the classmates were my informer to doing this whole entire thing, trying to get my powers back. So my parents didn't abandon me, because I loved my parents. You know what I mean? This is actually going to be taking a unique twist to this story, because I have a fair idea that I know what I'm doing, but it's just when we have English next, I have to try and figure out what I'm actually doing. But yeah, make sure you tune into the live stream today. So my timetable. Yeah, so next we have English on a Monday. So that's tomorrow. English on a Monday. So English on a Monday is going to be crazy, because I don't have to try and it's only like 90 minutes, an hour and a half, but hopefully we can get straight onto them as soon as we get back to school. When we get to school, hopefully I can do an hour and a half of work based on my story. I do need colors, please. Before tomorrow, you only have tomorrow, and before Monday, I need colors. I need some unique colors on this. So if you guys can successfully give me colors, give me 3 best colors. But give me 3 best colors, please. I need all the best colors that would suit this, like a Professor Skull. Like I might do some of it black maybe, but I need some really good colors. So comment down below, give me some great colors that would come to plan with this. And good unique twist for this, because I do need all the colors that I can get. But if I can't get colors, then I'm just gonna have to make up my own colors. So I was thinking about making I was gonna plan on making the gold come up to about here, so the crutch. So that's where the gold is gonna stop from my boots, and the gold's gonna finish here. I just need the top and like here, unless I could try and get an image and put like a skull on it. You know what I mean? So Professor Skull, his name is. I just need people to give me colors or color suggestions down in the comments down below for a supervillain. Unless I Google some, this is going to be the most ugliest fucking thing I have ever made as a superhero. On top of that, we have to make our own too. So my name is Professor Skull. I got this from how I got it, how you got your superpower. So that's going to be based on how I got my superpower, which is going to be Professor Powers. Or maybe guys, I need help on this side over here. I need help with that. So from a superpower that I got, I was born with it, so maybe a superpower, right? Because my parents would have this type of superpower. So that's all I need. But I do have a couple of story times to get through. And one of them being is an English class last year. I already started on the subject, but I'm going to talk about it a bit more because I reckon that this is going to take a unique twist for everybody that knew that I read stories in English, but not what type of stories. So this is story time, right? We all used to do stories back in English, but my stories really took a unique twist and a unique way into doing this. So one of my stories was about I don't know if YouTube will take this down, but please YouTube do not flag this because I really need to tell this story time. So I was once in English, right guys? And we were so used to do, well, me personally and a girl at my table, because I used to sit with 3 girls. And 2 of them done really like basic happy stories. 2 of us at the table, however, we done like those really creepy, like dead people stories. So I'm like, oh yeah, we'll just go with this. And I always used to write stories about that. So I would I can't do that. So anyway, I always used to give my teacher shivers. I always used to give my teacher really bad things. Every time we went to a library, right? We went to a library and there was this a coincidence to come along and me find a book about shivers. So I started reading it and the teacher comes along and she looks at it and she goes, that's the type of stories that you write. And it went through my head like, yes it is. I give people shivers when they read my stories. Like one day, mechanic one, I have to get this one. There was this mechanic one. And the teacher read it and it gave her, I'm pretty sure that it gave her shivers, right? So I'm like, yeah, we'll just write it. And I was like, there's one that came with shivers. And she's like, oh, okay. All right, shivers. And then I was like, oh, not shivers, a mechanic story. So this mechanic story was all about a creepy mechanic. Or like a weird mechanic, and we had to set it in a place where no one could be, where no one would be, where no one should be. So it was basically like in the middle of the countryside, like way in the middle of nowhere. Like think about a country that you've never been before, but there's nothing but wild animals and no civilization close. Just think about that for a second. Just deeply think about it. I'll give you a couple of seconds to think about it. So, we had to present this place in a location where it has never been, where no civilization apart from bushes. So, in the middle like of a desert, where no one would be, but someone would be close by. Someone creepy could be close by. Someone weird, someone creepy, someone that would stalk you, someone that would come out of nowhere and you wouldn't even expect it. So, I was writing this story and I had an idea to make out like this person knew what they were talking about to fix a car, but then they realized they didn't. So they ended up being, realizing that they couldn't fix a car, and this mechanic was in a fucking bush. I made this mechanic hide in a fucking bush. This mechanic was the creepiest fucking hero ever. Just imagine this. You're trying to fix your car. This weird ass fucking guy comes out of fucking nowhere and scares the fucking crap out of you. So this is where I'm exactly going with it. If you're in that position, make sure you smash that thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, turn on bell notifications, sign over the right button, and pop a comment down below. So this is where I'm going with it. Just imagine you were there and you didn't know anything. You didn't know where any civilization was. You didn't know where anything was. And at that point of time, you didn't know how to go about this. So this mechanic, you were like, blah, blah, I can fix a car, blah, 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 blah. Realized, brainwave, you didn't know how to fix a car at all. So this creepy ass fucking mechanic comes out of the bush and claims to make sure that he's a mechanic. But instead, he's got a butcher's outfit on that's got lots of fucking blood on it. He's got a machete, he's got a gun, he's got weapons on him. So he's got physical weapons and you didn't know what he was doing. So you look at his appearance. You judge his cover. You judge a book by its cover when you shouldn't really. So do not ever judge a book by its cover, or a guy or a person by his appearance. Their appearance. But there's only two genders. Anyway, apart from that. So he comes out, he's got a butcher's outfit on. He looks mad fucking creepy. He's the creepiest guy you've ever fucking seen. Butcher's outfit on. Blood on his apron. A gun in a holster. He's got a machete in his hand. He's walking towards you. You don't know what to do. So you're just like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna let this be, you know? You're just gonna blah 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 blah. You have a conversation with him. You realize that he could do something dangerous. I'm not exactly sure how this story went, but I'm gonna make up some things. So, this person came out of nowhere, out of the bush, like plain butcher's outfit and everything. And then you realize that he could do something dangerous, but you didn't know how to go about it. He claimed that he was a mechanic. You didn't know if you could believe him or not. You didn't know if you could take his side. You didn't know if you could. You had no people around because there was no people. You were in the middle of fucking nowhere. So you had no people to ask if he's a real mechanic or if he could do something dangerous to you. But you just imagine like he is a mechanic, but he's not. So you just go along and you say, boom, I think he might be a mechanic. He fixes your car. You gotta drive. It breaks instantly. So you have fucking brakes. Like, that's the shittiest job anyone could do. He takes you to a new dimension. Nothing you've been to before. It's the same person. Multiple times, everywhere. That is not how the story goes, but I thought I'd change a little bit of things. Let's go into another story time, but I'm making a story for you guys. Creepy story. So I'm going to make a creepy story for you guys. And I had to plug in my earphones to make sure everything was working. So I plugged in my earphones to my microphone. Hang on. So I'm going to plug in my microphones to my earphones so I can exactly how I can see how I'm talking. So this is going to be the scariest story you've ever heard on the internet. Please, YouTube, do not flag this or demonetize me. So just imagine you're in a place, you're in the wilderness, you don't know where you're at, in the middle of a desert type thing, where there's no civilization, nowhere to go. You have no appearance, you have nothing, your car broke down. You have nothing there. You have no civilization apart from bushes everywhere. Nothing to go by apart from bushes. And then you hear a weird noise. You hear this very weird noise. And you think nothing of it. But apart from this weird noise, you look over. There's a bush right there. You see movement in the bush. The only thing that you can do, the only thing that is the only imaginable would be to... you would realize that there's someone in the bush. You say that you can fix the car, but you can't because you're no mechanic. This person comes out. This person comes out of the car. So this person comes out the bush, and you realize that he's dressed in some killer uniform. And then you realize that he's holding weapons on him. You didn't know what to do. You had no cell service whatsoever. So you had no service. You were stuck in the middle of nowhere. You had no service to go by. So what do? Do you allow him to take a look at your car? Or do you not? Comment down below. That's one suggestion I have. Or one question. So you say that he can clearly fix your car. But he's holding this one machete in his hand. He's got a gun. Or a couple guns, right? He's got a couple of guns in some holsters. He's got a big ass machete in his hand, and he's got a couple of swords on his back. So he's holding a bunch of weapons. You look around, and you didn't have a proper look because you're stuck in your car. You're stuck trying to fix your car, so you just focused on fixing your car and nothing else. And then you take a look and you see all these non-moving bodies. So you presume that they're just sleeping until you see this puddle of red. You see this redness. You see this puddle of red. You see all this red by these bodies. And you think, did he unalive them? Because I was focused on my car and I never heard anything. You may have heard a scream. You may have heard a scream, but that's about it. You only heard one scream and took nothing of it. So that one person that was screaming, they're inside your car. They're inside your boot. This person, this killer, in this butcher uniform with blood on him, he hid that person in your car. Because you're too busy focusing on your car, you didn't even realize. You're focused like you should be in school. But this one person, he shoved someone into your boot. You didn't think nothing of it. You heard the screaming which was in the back of your car. You say, excuse me, can I have a look at that? He goes, no, do not look at that. I promise you, something bad will happen if you look in the back of your car. And you're like, okay. So you think nothing of it. You do nothing about it. He is focused on fixing your car. You end up going to your boot and you find a person that is stuck there. You find a person that is stuck there, tied up, mouth closed. That's the scream you heard because that's the only person that was alive. The person comes behind you, puts a gun to your head, and tells you, what are you doing? Shoves you back in the boot. They fix the car, but they drive off and they stuck a couple of mechanics to it because you flew into the real world. Or a scary place. Like a scary warehouse, perhaps. Like a butcher, like a slaughterhouse. So you end up there. He ends up slitting up. He ends up doing harm to you. He ends up being really weird and creepy. Then you just see all these people being the same person and you don't know how to act. Because you are surrounded by people that have weapons, machetes, guns, swords. You've seen danger. You've seen a pool of red next to those bodies in that house, in the Blurtor house. You see one person that reminded you that's your best friend that is lying there unalive because you went there to save him. You went there to save your best friend. So that person got there before you did. What would you do? This is a serious question. What would you do? This is a horror story I just told you. You've seen people that are unalive. You've seen your best friend that's unalive. You see your mother and dad that's right in front of you hanging upside down. Stab wounds. You see your whole entire family there. You're the only one that's alive. You see your whole family hanging up, upside down. You see them get unalived right in front of your fucking eyes. How do you react? And then, do you say, put me up there too, or do you fight him? Do you undo yourself and do you fight him? I suggest you not, because there's millions of people. There's millions of the same exact person that is hiding. He has snipers in that building. You don't know what he's capable of. You don't know. But what do you do? Do you fight them all? Or do you not? You have one chance to live. Because you could end up like your family, upside down, getting murdered in front of your eyes, being unalived in front of your fucking eyes. So do you want revenge? But you just remember that your parents are very, very strong. So they come back, they unhook themselves, they jump on their feet, they go on, beat those people up. And you just stand there, seeing them get unalived of the same exact person. Do you see them being unalived? Then you see demons wherever you go. And that reminds you that they went to hell. They didn't go anywhere else apart from hell. And that's when you struck, and you remember that you're in heaven. But you're looking down below, thinking, what is going on? I'm here. But you're not, you're just a ghost. I'm sorry to say, but you've been unalived. You attended your own funeral. You attended your own family's funeral. You don't know what's going on. You just attended their funeral. You're trying to talk to people to try and get answers. You are dead. You're a ghost. No one can hear you. Your best friend is trying to communicate with you. But you can't. You are stuck in heaven. You are a ghost. No one can hear you. No one is listening. Then the whole world ends. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and turn on bell notifications so you never post. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.